All right. Today on Going Public, we have the parish president, Mr. Jason Bergeron, on the set. We also have the chair of the council, Mr. John Amedee. It's all next. Don't go away. All right, welcome back to Going Public. I'm Martin Falls. We have the president and the chair right here on the set. Good to see you, gentlemen. How are y'all doing?
We're doing good, like everybody.
Yep,
A little
very
chilly,
good.
but we're doing good.
All right, early on, new administration. Tell me, I know y'all been talking a lot. What's the plan? We got some good plans going forward, don't we?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Parish President, we'll let you lead off.
Yeah, in my campaign, I talked about just trying to do some things differently and being able to get into parish government and look at organization structure, setting people up for success so that we then hold them accountable. And, getting into there and having conversations with directors and both the directors that are currently in place and some directors that I brought in. They adapted real quick to my vision, and we started having a conversation about what success looks like. And early on, getting the council involved and getting them to meet the people that I wanted to bring on and talk about some plans that I had, some ideas that I had, in an effort of transparency so they could be on board sooner. I really feel like that's also helped us to get moving faster.
Yeah. Is it what you expected? I mean, coming from a private sector to a governmental sector, is it sort of what you expected, or were there some things that you wanted to tweak even more?
It was a real, in some areas, yes, in some areas, no. At the end of the day, I really feel like when I talk structure, it's about, job descriptions, what people do, what they're held accountable to, what procedures support that, and just making sure that's all documented. We're all on the same page. And I knew government would have some level of that. And so once we got in, just being able to see some other areas, for example, like in the information technology arena, some things we can do that are pretty cost effective, that changes the way we do business every day. And so it is a good tie of what I've dealt with before and kind of what I expected. But then, the politics side of it is the part that comes into play that it's probably going to take the most getting used to. But, nothing that I don't feel like I deal with. It's all relationships and communication at the end of the day.
The world of politics,
Yes.
But we dealt with cold, we dealt with storms, we dealt with a little bit of everything in a week and a half. So we got a lot left. John, let me turn to you a little bit. Your transition's a little different. Y'all have transition within the council. So
We do.
You're pretty used to transition at this point, aren't you?
We are, but President Bergeron mentioned something that's really important that we really appreciate with his administration, that's communication. So he understands for everybody to be successful, then you have to communicate so that nobody's caught off guard by anything that's been going on. Some of the things that he was talking about, you can feel in the government tower, the energy was just blazing with hope, excitement for the things that he was talking about, and on the council as well. Now, we're a little bit different dynamic. We're 9 of us that have to try and agree on one thing. We don't always do it. We don't know him as well as, say, somebody who would have already served the first term, some of these newer people coming in. So they're going to have a lot of questions. When they see council members question the parish president or something, they try to make something of it, and it's not. It's just a learning experience.
That's pretty typical.
And it is pretty typical. Yeah. And let me tell you, he has been open to us, transparent to us, and I'm hoping that the public's seeing the same thing.
All right, so let's talk about some of the things. First of all, I know you've been having meetings on capital outlay. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, the way I do things, the way I work is, we sat down, the CFO, and sat down with some directors, and my first question was, do we have a master list? Can I look at every project that we're interested in doing, that we are currently doing, that is funded, that isn't funded? And to me, I'm a data guy, so I want to look at all the data. I want to understand where we are. You know, I don't believe you know where you're going till you know where you've been. And so that's one of the first things I did. And then knowing that capital outlay was in place, you know, that was sent back in November, having conversations around what that priority looks like. And so what I did is I brought the delegation in. I brought all our representatives, all our senators. We all sat around the table and we all talked about, you know, what is priority to them? What does success look like? Then also taking in the conversations that I had with the council members and understanding what priorities they had in their districts and just seeing how all that integrates and learning, you know, we might have one project that's on 2 or 3 different lists because we're hedging our bets for the opportunity for money, but also making sure at the same time that between the directors, the council members, and projects that we just know are important, that we all agree on the same priority.
Y'all had a big table.
Yes, sir, we did.
Were you surprised at some of the outlay projects, or was it mostly what you thought they would be?
Pretty much what I thought it would be. You know, as we go through this, you know, we're dealing with the CDBG money, we're dealing with capital outlay, we're dealing with BRIC, all these different, we call it an alphabet soup early on. There's so many different acronyms. But, you know, having a basic understanding of what's priority, and we all know it's hurricane protection and coastal restoration, doing things to lower insurance. It's also making sure that roads, bridges, trash, grass, you know, all those things that we deal with that affect that quality of life. Yeah. That it all ranks.
Beautification, yeah.
Beautification. And just making sure economic development, just making sure all that has priority where it needs to have priority, and also at the same time that everybody that's in the conversation, in the room or at the table is in agreement of what that priority looks like.
Yeah. And John, when we talk in capital outlay, how does that, you know, go from state to local, administrative to council? What input do y'all have on that?
Well, the thing that we do is, of course, we have to assess our districts and then see what's important there, what needs to be done there. We do that in conjunction with administration and the departments there because they know where water's flowing, for example. So where we might need some pump stations or drainage work done in those areas. We also, as council members, have to look at the whole because there's a priority. So whenever we're going to be looking at fixing something, then we need to place priority on what really needs to be done, because we may have something in our district that we want to get done, but there may be something in a lower district that has to get done, say a bridge that needs to be replaced or repaired, something like that. That would take priority, say, over, you know, changing some culverts or something. So our part is really working together with administration, make sure once they put the plans out there that we help them to appropriate the money necessary to meet our match.
How do you bring the four, I say inexperienced, but they have experience in life, but not in government. How do you bring them in and sort of teach them procedure without insulting them? They all have minds of their own, but you want to make sure they know how to go about it, right?
Well, it's all in conversation. And as long as they're a person that's willing and is eager to learn, it's going to be easy. And we have that right now. We don't have anyone who's coming in thinking they know it all. You can't tell them what to do. So their ears are open, their eyes are open. I encourage them. I said, look, for the first couple of meetings, just kind of listen and learn to what's taking place. As chair, I intend to meet with them more often. That way, or, you know, at least to be able to answer their questions, put them in positions where they can learn the things that they need to learn in moving forward.
Yeah, but some of these people have never waited. They're ready to go. I bet Jason's ready to go.
Well, you know,
and the government sometimes sort of goes, whoa, you can't move that fast. Yeah.
Right. I tell everybody, I said, you know, in business, if we want to buy something, we just write a check or we call the bank and say, hey, move that money around. But in government, it takes a lot of different processes to be able to accomplish that. So that's one of the biggest things, Morton, is teaching them the process of government and how it's going to frustrate them time-wise. You know, it's going from 100 to 0 sometimes because you have to hold back. And you see it where we put out a project and then 4 years later, you actually see it break ground.
So we'll get into some of these topics, but let me ask the parish president. Have you had to sort of sit in the office sometimes and go, because you like to go, you like to move, you like to shake, but it's a process, isn't it?
Well, but there's no shortage of issues to address or questions to answer. So whether it's stuff, internally or externally, everybody wants to have a conversation. Everybody wants to talk about the projects that are going on and ways that they could help the parish. And so, it's been interesting to, as I go through and have conversations with directors, like I talked about early on, it's, having a conversation, asking them, and I tell them, if they come to me with a solution, 9 times out of 10, we're going to do that. And having people kind of get used to that, where they start trying to explain it, and I go, hold up. I said, give me the problem, give me the solution. Okay, let's do that. And so, and there's going to be some times that we don't, and I'm going to explain the why, but to really make sure that our parish employees and our directors are empowered, and taking a shot at what they think. They've been doing it for a long time. I feel like my job is to make them look good and give them the tools they need to be successful. And if they look good, I look good.
So if they come with the solution, they feel more invested, and it moves it quicker. So John, you're going in there with solutions, right?
We always go with solutions. It's one of the things that I've learned in business as well. When we're dealing with something, don't just go in with a complaint. Go in with a solution. It's going to get you more favor, and it's going to get done what you really need to get done. So as an encouragement, we always tell them, look, see what the issue is, but see a solution. If you can, see several options, and then take that, and those that know should be able to find something in that to make it work.
All right, we're going to take a short break. We're going to come back with the second half of the program coming up. We're going to get into all kind of good stuff, so don't go away. We'll be right back. Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health Systems, modern technology and timeless caring. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bourke, know your rights. South Louisiana Bank, it's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough. Alford and Associates, for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality. All right, it's segment 2, and we are back with the parish president and the council chair. Right after this short intro, we're going to talk about certain things that they want to implement in the parish, and a lot of these things you want to hear about. So we'll be right back to talk about it. All right, we are back with the parish president and the council chair, Mr. Jason Bergeron, Mr. John Amedee. Thanks again. We appreciate, as always, the transparency. This is going to be fun. Quality of life. We hear that so much. But certain people have certain visions about quality of life. Mr. Bergeron, what would yours be? And I know that's something near and dear to you.
Yeah, so, I've been involved in working to make recreation better throughout when I was chair of the chamber. And at a certain point, I felt like that we needed to transition the conversation from recreation to quality of life. And so as I'm going through and meeting with departments and looking at, things we can maybe do differently or better, I had the idea to rename TPR to quality of life. My mindset was, when you say recreation, people think children only. And, TPR has had its issues in the past. And so sometimes it's just as simple as taking a car and repainting it, giving a nice new look and feel and just rebrand. And so from there, having conversations with directors about, what if we call this quality of life? What does that look like? And the team jumped right into it. They started making recommendations on how we could organize it. Before you know it, we're bringing in the Sportsplex and the Civic Center and Municipal Auditorium and some of those other areas, and now we're talking about bringing in, Main Street program and some of the things that fell under different departments. And by putting it in that one area, to me, I think people just start thinking about it differently. And when they start thinking about it differently, then we have ideas of what we can do to increase the quality of life of Terrebonne Parish.
Are we going to abbreviate it to QL?
And that's not the plan. Like quality of life. Quality of life.
All right, we got to pronounce it, John. Quality of life. All right, there you go. But and that's interesting. So, John, as a council person and all the council people, do they go to the parish president with things in their district that they might say, "Hey, we need a walking track around this area, or we need a bike path, or we need this or that"? Is that how it normally works?
Well, there's actually two different ways that we do it, because the reg districts are individual. They run their own taxes. So most of things we go to their district boards and we present that to them. Now they have an option. If they need some extra funding, they're going to go to administration and see if they can get a little extra funding. So we'll do some CAs like the Summerfield Park,
Right.
what you call the
Whiskey Park?
no, the other. The
But-
88 Park.
Yeah,
But
they can all come back though and ask the parish president, "Look, we didn't consider this. We need a little kicker here or something." Yeah.
Yeah, situations might have changed where they don't have exactly what they need. But what Jason is doing with this department is he's expanding it. Like he was saying, TPR, many times people think of children, but there's a lot of adults now that are doing different sports like pickleball.
That's very true.
There's some other things available out there. So I understand what they were looking for. Now, with any change, people, you say change and they just wait, what's going on here. So they've done a good job of coming and explaining to us what they're doing, getting the council behind them so that we can move forward with it. And the whole look is going to be better. We have to be forward thinking if we're going to move this parish forward. And I think it takes some of the stigmas away that people may have built over the years to reject sort of things. So I think this is a good move.
Nobody likes change till they get used to the change.
Always.
Then they like the change. That's life, isn't it?
Right.
That's it.
Let's talk about the communications department. You're revamping that too, aren't you?
Yeah, so we basically converting public safety to communications. We got Mr. Robbie Lee there, and he came from the Fouche Parish doing communications there. And it really goes into not just communications, but communications, information technology, branding, marketing, social media, pretty much anything that we do as a parish and as we communicate, that we do that with one process and with one look and feel, and so he's done a great job. We're already, like I said, we've moved some departments around. IT used to be under finance. We moved that under communications. And with that, I've heard a lot of great feedback on the communication we've been providing for this storm event we're dealing with right now. That's just us getting started. We're going to look at some rebranding. We're going to look at redesigning the website. We're looking at doing things that lets you, residents self-service, get answers faster, get more information, quickly, to be able to look up GIS and all these different platforms, which is also going to communication. Again, it all just fits together. It all works together. And I'm able to do, work things more efficiently by putting similar items in the same department. And it really allows, again, for that success. And some of these conversations I'm having is, if we were to start this today, if it was a blank slate, if you were creating this department from scratch, what would that look like? Because in business and in government, once you get something rolling, to try to change it, it's like steering that ship. It just takes a little while. And sometimes by just about thinking about things a little bit differently and saying, blank slate, what could we do? Okay, why don't we do that? And then try to get people to implement that.
I hear bigger or robust. Would that be a good word to describe it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, robust. And John, how important is that communications from the parish president to the council? Because like I said, I've been covering this since '85. Some councils never had communication with the parish president. What's your thoughts on this?
Well, that has been the case in the past, and we really never had a communications director, communications department. The way that they've structured this is fantastic. Just in the, what are we in, 12 days in, I think. This is probably my most favorite, if I can say it that way, thing that they've done so far, because the communication between administration and the council has not been broken. We're constantly getting information coming to them, coming from them, I should say, and it's really helpful in helping us to be able to do our job, because a lot of times, you see it on the news or you see it on Facebook before we learn about it. Well, now we're hearing it straight from the horse's mouth in real time, and then we're able to respond to our constituents who are asking us
But it
questions.
gives you a chance as a chair, too, to know it early enough to be able to work it before an agenda or whatever. You can absorb it, I guess, is the word.
Well, the thing is, when we get that information early like that, then it makes it easier for us to get those 9 people working together so that we can pass what he's trying to do. And it just keeps us all efficient, which is one of the things that Parish President Bergeron is trying to do, is efficiencies. So he keeps us very efficient and keeps us rolling along.
All right. And let me ask Mr. Bergeron something. The rebranding, is that the right word, what you're going to do with Terrebonne Parish?
Yes, sir. I look at what we use, and I love our seal. I feel our seal should be special. It should be used for special occasions. And so with that, we're going to look to rebrand the parish and create a logo. And I love logos and slogans to go with everything. I was working on an email today that we're the saltwater capital of the world. I don't know if we promote that enough.
Yeah.
And just any opportunity to get people to, and when you rebrand, it creates an energy. We're going to redo the website with that. And again, make it easier for people to get to data. And so, again, it's, taking that car and putting a nice new paint job on it and getting it all cleaned up, and you sell it for more money when you do that. And so we're just kind of doing the same thing with the parish, because we are selling the parish, right? We are trying to make sure that businesses find us attractive, that residents want to stay, and businesses also want to stay. And that when you look at, what that looks like, when you look at the website and look at everything else and everything looks fresh and new, it just kind of gives what Councilman Amedee talked about, was that, that hope, that fresh, like, man, this is, it just looks better. It feels better. We all working together, and we're going to move the parish forward.
Yeah, we all know when our cars back in the day got a new coat of paint, we thought they were new. They felt like they were new.
Right.
A lot of them ran the same, but they felt like they were new. So, John, when people are coming into the parish, first thing they see, sometimes if they turn here, they'll see our building, other buildings, but that first impression can last a long time.
It does. And we want to make sure that whatever they're looking at, and I think they're on the right track with the rebranding, changing of the website. When people start looking, maybe somebody's transferring into the area, they're going to go look at the websites and they're going to see what's happening in this town. Do we really want to go there, or do we want to take some other option? So it's vital to what we're doing here in Terrebonne Parish.
All right. And Mr. Bergeron, Mr. Amedee, I appreciate y'all coming. I'll give y'all each a little time to just say, did we miss anything? Anything else you'd like to tell the public at this point?
Yeah, and for those that maybe didn't hear it during the inauguration, I'm leading with empathy. I really want to make sure that everybody is looking at, putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, and also working with what I call the benefit of the doubt. And I know, I can tell you, I knew we had passionate people, but those people are showing me every day, every minute, every hour, how much they just love working for the parish and do what's best for our residents. And at the same time, we have a lot of issues. We got a lot of things that we're working through, and we just want to work and make sure we all give each other the benefit of the doubt.
All right. Well said. John?
Yeah, and leading on from that is to make sure that everybody gives room for everybody. And that's one of the important things. We want everybody to feel ownership. You mentioned that earlier. When they feel ownership, then they really get engaged and they put out their best efforts. And in the end, we all look better for it. We all live better for it.
All right. Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, thank you all so much
Thanks for having
for coming on. Appreciate it.
Gordon.
And thanks to the public again for joining us on Gone Public. And we'll be talking with these gentlemen quite a bit, as well as everybody else in government. So we'll take a break. More on HTV. Don't go away.